Patrick Highsmith here, Chairman, FireFox Gold here. Completed a step-out drill program there in a very interesting part of the world to me, Finland here, and you have a strong cobalt intercept to add to the mix here. So it's been a while, Patrick. Please run us through the latest on your treasure hunting activities.
We're just getting the folks up to speed. We did complete this spring drill program at Mustajrvi, and first quarter, of course, we had some blistering results coming out of Mustajrvi. High-grade, near-surface intercepts right off a highway, a 20-minute drive south of Europe's biggest gold mine, where Agnico Eagle is operating on paved highways, just down the highway from the Europe's biggest discovery, the Ikkari gold deposit that Rupert is drilling. So, folks can stay tuned and look for the assays. There are a few kind of observations we make in the news release that we can chat just briefly about. Maybe I'll share a screen. But basically, the news is we drilled 8 holes, and in the news release, we discussed a little bit about where we drilled, and you can see that from the map with the black labels here, or the 8 holes that we just finished drilling. But I think the bigger reason is, why did we drill there, Rob? And this slide, I think, is effective, because what it shows you is, sure, we drilled a number of holes, the core of which, the best parts of this zone, were delineated in the first quarter of this year in those results. And what you can see is there's a 50-meter scale bar there. There's a high-grade gold shape coming pretty much to surface. These intercepts are between 10 and 35 meters below surface. And we project this shape to surface. This is not a resource. It's a leapfrog model of the gold shapes that are gold above 2.5 grams per ton projected to surface. So you can see there, we started off with a few holes right towards the core of it, 20 to 25 meters apart, drilling a couple different directions there. And of course, we wanted to fill in this gap here. There's probably gold there, so we put a couple of holes through that area to see whether this gap fills in. There's probably gold in here between this shape and this other yellow shape here. And it's open in several directions, particularly to the southwest, to the south, and to the north and northwest. So we stepped out a bit more, Rob. So that's some of these holes that are a little further out, like you see here. Okay, and then we came all the way over here, about 80 meters away from any previous drilling, and we drilled this hole back to the north. And then we looked at this corridor right here, this sort of light orange shape, Rob, and what that was showing us is we have a weak magnetic anomaly that's plunging off to the west, where the rocks are less magnetic. Our hundreds of measurements we've taken in the drill core in this area suggest that shape is plunging off to the southwest. So we jumped another 140 meters away down here to 23 MJ008. This is a 220 meter step out from any previous drilling that we've now completed at Mustajrvi down this corridor. Now, our preliminary indications are, when we look at these rocks, that we do see alteration and important structures that are persistent through the heart of the zone here in these close-in holes, and they seem to be extending out, showing good alteration in these holes 80 meters out and 220 meters out from the existing core of this Mustajrvi East drill target, which you can see on the map here. So the real takeaway is there's 1.5 kilometers of drilling where we keep hitting gold on this structure. And now we've figured out and gotten predictive with where we think those gold shapes are going. And that's what we did here with these bigger step outs to indicate scale, both heading back to the southwest here, still open to the northeast. We've tested it a little bit to the south. We've tested a little bit to the north, but still open in those directions. So can we grow this thing? And does it link these 3 pods eventually? These lodes that we've been drilling, the central zone, the northeast target, the east target, do these all fit together? Do they continue to depth and have the kind of persistence that can generate to a high-grade gold discovery right off a paved highway you can see here on this figure? And if so, with it coming to surface like this, what does this look like? Is this a medium-sized, high-grade gold deposit that could be put into production inexpensively? Is it a satellite to a bigger mine nearby? Or is this a multi-million-ounce discovery, and this is just the early days of it? And you mentioned, Rob, there was one other topic in this news release, and that was we did hit some cobalt. Very interesting. Cobalt's very topical these days, as it's a key ingredient in lithium-ion batteries. And what we found in our assay work and our microscope work so far is that when we have this shiny, brassy pyrite right here, we know the gold is associated with that. And we've reported a bunch of high-grade gold intercepts associated with all this pyrite. But we now also know that that pyrite contains cobalt. And that intercept that assayed 15.5 meters of 13 grams gold from only 11 meters below surface. It included 6.5 meters of 19.2 grams, again, shallow high-grade gold, but it also included a lot of cobalt. 15 meters of 0.15% cobalt, 6.5 meters of 0.27% cobalt. A lot of cobalt projects around the world, Rob, they're not drilling grades that good. So really neat discovery here at Mustajrvi, continues to evolve. The guys have done amazing work on sorting out where to go next on this thing. And we're just priming the pump because we expect the assays here in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that was my follow-up there, I guess. When are we going to get the confirmation of what you're thinking here? So yeah, let's wrap this up in a little message here for treasure hunters here, Patrick. So I heard the word production out of here. That grabs me as an investor. Certainly something to maybe go down that road, but you have 4 main areas here that could become something bigger. So yeah, there's a lot to pay attention to here. So someone's interested in treasure hunting with you. What's your real takeaway message to them?
Rob, it's exactly right what you said. I mean, clearly you make money by mining gold, and in Finland we have Europe's biggest gold mine here on this map. That's the Kientz mine. We have the most exciting discovery in Europe in decades here at Ikkari that Rupert has made just down the pike from us. So what do you want to do? Of course, if you want to be in the gold business, is be in a district that's producing new discoveries. It's got major operating mines. And then in a scenario like FireFox, look at all this acreage you've got here, colored yellow, in the pipeline. And meanwhile, leading the way is a high-grade discovery at Mustajrvi that seems to be growing, seems to be consistently yielding results at surface and shallow. And the pipeline's quite full behind it, Rob. So we think there's multiple ways to play investing in gold exploration in Lapland. And one of which is look for grade, things that a bigger company might just have to have it, Rob. They may have to have a satellite deposit like that sitting right on surface on a paved highway between the 2 biggest cities in the region, okay? So Sodankylä here and Kittilä here, the highway goes right through Mustajrvi, right through here. So that's really exciting in itself. But you know us, we're treasure hunters and we can't stop exploring, and the pipeline is full. And they're going to continue to be drilling, and there's going to continue to be gold coming out of northern Finland.
Yeah, no, sounds like it, and sounds like you've got options there, which is a nice thing to have. So, hey, to take a minute, real quick here, Patrick, and run through again how undiscovered Finland in the area that you're in really is, and how few are participating up there.
Yeah, that last point I'll take first. There are really about 3 juniors and 2 majors that control this belt. So all the ground you see pegged up here in blue or gold is 3 juniors. That would be Rupert Resources, not hardly a junior anymore, 800 million market cap or whatever, Orion Resources, and ourselves. Okay, and that the belt's pretty well pegged with those 3 juniors, plus Agnico Eagle, who operates up here at the mine and has exploration properties. They're also a big shareholder of Rupert Resources. And then B2 Gold, of course, is our neighbor at Mustajrvi and our neighbor at the Sarvi project over here with Rupert. So that's the first thing, is that the belt is highly competitive and yet tightly bound up with about 3 juniors and 2 majors for the most part. And then this greenstone belt was known for decades as a base metal place. It's a place you came to mine copper. A little bit south of here, you'd get some copper, zinc deposits and some nickel deposits up here in Lapland, but it wasn't known for gold. So as a result, prior to about 2015, there was no significant gold exploration happening up here. I was here in 2005 with Newmont, and we noted that all the drilling in the belt up to 2007 for gold was less than Newmont drilled in 1 year in Nevada. So this is really undiscovered country up here, Rob, crisscrossed by paved highways and power lines, and it's a mining jurisdiction. So again, select where you invest and where you explore with these things in mind. You know, it's a first-tier jurisdiction. It's the least corrupt nation in the world. At least it and Denmark sort of battle back and forth for that title. And so you know you're going to get your mineral title here. You know that you'll be a rigorous permitting process consistent with the EU standards, but you have an actual mining law with transparent policy. If your project merits, you will get your permits and you'll put that mine into production, just like Agnico Eagle did here, and as we expect Rupert to one day, or its acquirer to do one day. So we got treasure hunters here, we got miners here, we got a few majors and a few juniors, and that's really who calls the shots here. That's where the discoveries are going to come from. It's from this ground that's already held by these three juniors, one of whom is very tiny little FireFox, and a couple of majors.
Well, we'll look forward to keeping an eye on your treasure hunting activities. So yeah, appreciate that drill down, Patrick.
Thanks very much. We'll keep you posted. We'll be back in a few weeks with assays from Mustajrvi, so stay tuned.